Okay. This video is about how to do hands-on on VPC endpoint. So before that, um, we know that for VPC, if we wanted to get the internet connectivity, we have to use a NAT instances or not NAT gateway for VPC to get the internet connectivity. And the other stuff is when two VPs, the two isolated VPs, if we wanted to connect to one each other, then we have to go for VPC peering. So these are the things that we have seen that. So now we know that the private subnet, which does not have internet connectivity. So if you wanted to access the S3 bucket, then we need to have an internet connectivity because that works on an internet API. Through API, it's working. So if your VPC is not connected to internet gateway or in NAT gateway or NAT instance, then what is the other way that how to access the S3 bucket or DynamoDB through private subnet? So this is the overall thing that we are going to see. So without internet, how exactly we are going to connect the S3 bucket, because DynamoDB involves charges. So we are going to see that since S3 is a consent free pair, we are going to see that how to connect S3 bucket in a VPC private subnet. Okay, so this is the session that we are going to have today. Okay, so let us go into that. So before moving into that, so there are two types of endpoints out there. One is, if we go here, VPC. So if we go to VPC, there are two things. Endpoint services is endpoints are there. So here, okay, so here, while creating an endpoint, let me create my. Okay, so before that, we'll first create a VPC and then we'll come back to that. So VPC. So VPC endpoint test on VPC. So what is the CIDR range is? I'm going to use 10.200.0.0/16. So VPC is created now. So whenever your VPC is created, we need to have create a subnet, route table, and internet gateway on VPCs. So VPC we have created. So I minimize it. I have closed. So I have opened again. So VPC is created. Okay. So endpoint demo VPC is created. Now I'm going to create a subnet. So subnet, I'm going to create it. For which VPC? Endpoint demo VPC. So okay, first create the public subnet. In the east 1A region. So CIDR range, CIDR block is 200.1.0/24. Okay. So one subnet is created. Now next subnet is private, because this is we are going to check that since public subnet has an internet connectivity, so which will work for S3. So we need to create a private subnet. So this private subnet doesn't have any internet connectivity. Or so how exactly it will connect without having any internet connectivity? So that's the thing which we are going to verify today. So two subnets are created. Now route table, as usual, public and private route table. So public route table will have an internet connectivity for which VPC. So I have selected. Okay, so this will initially will have a only local connection only. So one more private subnet I'll create, and then I'll create the internet gateway. So private route table. Private route table. So this also will have a local connectivity only. So now I'm going to create an internet gateway. GW or endpoint. So internet gateway is created. So whenever the internet gateway is created, it will be in a detached mode. So we have to attach with the VPC. So for which VPC selected. Good. So now, so whenever you have connected the internet gateway, so for public route table, we are going to add the internet gateway. So anything, any from anywhere. So the gateway is internet gateway. Now selected. Okay, so as of now, all good. So we have to create a instances. Okay, so let me create a EC2 instance. So EC2 instance I'm going to create. So endpoint, public endpoint, point we EC2. So I created. Okay, Linux, free tier. So type all are selected. Keeper. So VPC public key usually what we used to, and network settings, endpoint demo. Okay, so this is public subnet I'm going to use. Okay, public and private is that. So since this is public EC2, I'm going to use public subnet. RTOS and IP enable. Okay, good. All okay, rest all good. Okay, so create it. Okay, next thing is private. Private EC2 endpoint. Private endpoint EC2. Okay, we need to choose two things. One is with keeper and the other one is VPC. VPC for private subnet. So autos and IP automatically we should disable it. Okay, fine. So all good. So we have created two EC2s. One is with the private and one is with the public subnet. So now we are going to see the connectivity. Okay, so before that, I'll show that endpoint as well. So we'll create one more tab. We don't want to disturb that. Okay, so now I'm going to see that VPC. So I'm going to go for endpoints. So endpoints, whenever you go here, the create endpoint, you have to create endpoint demo. AWS services. Let it be. And then service C, you can see 195 service. Here, the initially I told, right, this type. So you can see here, see, if you type, if you sort by type, you can see that there are two types. One is gateway and the other one is interface. So what exactly the difference is? So, okay, so to see the difference exactly, so this is the difference actually. So, see, gateway in endpoint, which is associated with the route table. So I'll show you that how exactly it is associated with the route table, but it is inside a VPC. But this interface endpoint is associated with the security group and inside a subnet. So you know that inside a VPC means if you go out to the VPC, then this endpoint, gateway endpoint will not work. So within a VPC only you can connect and you can do all the things. But if you go out to the VPC, then even within the same region, same availability zone, everything. But if you go out to the VPC, then you cannot access that through gateway endpoint. But interface endpoint, which is associated with the subnet, so which we can have in a larger scope. So if you do this, right, gateway endpoint, interface endpoint, if you look at the exact differences, see, you can see that it use Amazon and S3 public IP addresses. Okay, so it is using a public IP addresses within the VPC so that it will access it. But this one, interface endpoint, which is associated with the subnet, which is associated with the security group, and it has a private addresses which use. So this interface endpoints, we'll have one more session with that. So currently we'll use the gateway endpoint only. So this is the second point, is the second and third point is important here. See, does not allow access from on premises because it will not go. If you are in a one VPC, then if you are using gateway endpoint, you cannot go out. But this can be avoided in the interface endpoints as well as see. The third point is does not allow access from another AWS region because it is associated with only VPC. But see the third point, allow access from a VPC in another AWS region using VPC period transit gateway. So this is the overall difference. So we can have these things in a different session. So, but currently we are going to use a gateway endpoint. So gateway endpoint is specifically for DynamoDB and S3 backend. So the thing is, S3 backend has the interface endpoint as well. So very simple answer is, if you wanted to access S3 bucket with the type of interface, if you are allowed to use, if you are have a budget, then the interface endpoint is the best thing. But if you wanted to, without any charge, if you wanted to go, the gateway endpoint is the best thing. So the simplest answer is, if you wanted to use free, then gateway. If you want to, if your budget allows for the chargeable, then you can go for interface endpoint. So this is, so for each, you can see here, right, DynamoDB, S3 notebook, all the things has a services, so you can use it. So currently we are going to, so before that, let me see that what happens with the EC2. Okay, so status check is passed. Let me try to connect through PuTTY. Public subnet will go here. So let me load that, open. Connection time up. Let me check that what would be the problem. Public subnet load, save. So let us see that what is the thing which we missed out. So we have to troubleshoot it. So VPC is correct. You need to see that. VPC public all good. And security group, which we don't have any issues. So okay. So I got that. The issue is because let me go to the route table. We didn't associate route table. So whenever you create, right, you have to associate with. So I'm going here, route table. So route table, public route table, I'm going to associate with here. Subnet association is not done. So I'm going to edit subnet association and to add that. So, okay. Now next to the private route table as well, I'm going to go here, subnet association, private subnet. Okay. Now try that. See, now I'm able to connect it. So now I'm going to EC2 user. We are able to connect it. So now we are going to go for another. So we are going to access the private subnet. Okay. So private subnet. Close that. Private subnet. Instance is running. So we are going to get the IP address of private endpoint. So this is, so it will not be having a public IP address. So I'm going to use this one. This is it. EC2 user @ okay, so it will ask you to continue or not. I'm going to give yes. So permission denied will come. So we have to create the PIM key. So I'm going to create a PIM key now. So here I'm going to use a VPC public key. As you know that this is, we have seen a lot of time. So copy. I'm going to paste it here. Colon QA. So colon 2A. Okay. So I have put the Q. Yes, that's a problem. So let me connect it again. T. So this is I already saved, so no problem. EC2 user connected. So I'm going to connect this one. SSH EC2 user @ IP address. So whether permission then still we are having. Okay. So I'm going to create vdemo1. Go with that name. So I have copied. Okay. Colon QE. Okay, so we'll see that we have to change the permission. Right? You have to change the permission for this demo1.pm. Okay, so done. So I'm going to use that demo1.pm ss as a EC2 user @ 10.200.2.69. So we are into that. Okay, we are into that. So now I'm going to that. here, this is the one. See, unable to locate credential, so you have to configure. So now, okay, before that, we are going to create a, we are going to access the S3 bucket, right? Now, we have to go to S3 bucket. So I'm going to upload a file. So endpoint demo. So we'll use the same name so that it will be helpful. Okay, so we'll create it. So we are going to create a bucket name. Okay, it should be in S3 bucket endpoint demo. So it's on the East 1 region, block called public access. So we need to acknowledge that. Good. So now, I'm going to upload a file. So here I'm going to just drag and drop two files. Okay, I'm going to upload that. That is good. Now I'm going to see AWS S3 MS. I'm going to okay. So still it says that unable to locate credentials. You can configure credentials by running AWS configure. Okay. So before that, okay, so we need to create a role for this. So first we'll create a endpoint. Okay. So I'm going to use S3 as the endpoint. So create endpoint. So for which VPC? So that see here, this is what I told. So it is specific to VPC. If you came out from VPC, it will not work out. So this is its policy is full access. Or custom, I'm going to access full access. I'm going to give full access. So create endpoint is new. Okay. So now we have created endpoint. Now if you go route tables, right? So generally whenever you create NAT instances or NAT gateway, anything, you have to configure that uh, uh, the added one, right? The added instance. Now, if you go here, this one, right? This route table. So we need to choose a subnet as well. Let me verify this one. VPC. Endpoint. Okay, I'm going to create the endpoint. So endpoint demo for S3. I'm going to use for S3 bucket. S3 bucket. And VPC is this one. So below that, there are few more options that we missed it. Okay, so this is we can have. So what are the tables that we need to choose? Okay, so we have we have chosen. So for these two tables, we need to have this one. So here we need to give a policy is full access policy. So now go and see route tables. Subnets, you can see here. Okay, so still there is a one thing which is pending. We need to see that. Okay, before that we'll see whether we are able to access this S3 content or not. Okay, so we need to give a permission. So permission bucket policy I'm going to use. So I need to copy this policy generator for all the accounts. For all the actions. ARN is pasted /down. We'll go with that. So we have already copied the bucket policy. We can use by changing S3 bucket endpoint demo. Save changes. Okay, change. So now it is public. Let us try this. Okay, we can go here S3 buckets. We know that we don't have internet gateway or any internet connectivity over there. Let's go here. So we will copy this and we will try to do this. We have to reconnect. Public subnet. EC2 user. User search. -e demo 1.pm EC2 user at the 10.200.2.69. So we are on that. Here we'll go to now. See, we are able to see, we are able to download it. Whether we are able to list that or not, we'll see. Database 3. See, we are able to download that. So that you saw, right? We are able to download that. Let us go into the list. See, index.html we already downloaded without any internet connectivity. So now, how are we able to access the list of buckets? So let us try that as well. Okay. So here we can go to EC2. EC2. Okay, so here EC2, whenever you go, you can see here this private instance is that, right? If you right click, if you go here, security, modify IAM role, see here you have to choose a role. See, I have a full S3 access. See, this is I have already created. If you wanted to create new, then see, create new S3 role. So when you start creating, you can see here. Okay, so now create role. So create role is AWS 3. So common use case, you can use EC2 and then go for next. Here you can see S3. S3. So S3 full access is that, right? So if you expand, you can see that what are the things allowed. You can see all the things. So see, provide full access to all buckets via AWS management console. So this is one. So I'm going to create this one. The role name, already I have given full name access, right? So full name for endpoint, I'm using this name. So it is getting created. So you can see that, right, after full S3 access is created already. So this is now created. Okay. So now you have to map this to that instance, right? So that's what we have navigated over here. So now try refresh. You can see full name, full for name endpoint. Okay, full access for name endpoint. So update IAM role. So now you can see here we have assigned for private endpoint only. So you can assign here as well. If you right click, you can see security as well, and you can assign it here as well. So currently I have assigned for private endpoint only. So let us try to access AWS S3 LS. See, you can see here, right? S3 endpoint, sorry, S3 bucket endpoint demo. So this is what the S3 bucket we do have. S3 bucket. Okay. So one more bucket we'll try to create. Dummy bucket. Okay, already name is the dummy bucket name must not contain application. Dummy bucket for endpoint. Okay, now we'll so you can see here too, right? Just now whatever you created dummy bucket for S3 bucket, S3 bucket endpoint. Okay, so now you are here and you can able to download. See, we're able to download that as well. So right, you're able to download from the S3 packet as well, and you are able to list down all the packets. Now, one more thing is if you wanted to see that okay, so these are the things. Now you are on 10.200.2.69. So now let us come out from this. So the connection closed. Now we are on public subnet. Now let us try to connect this list. See, you can configure. So now you know the reason why. So because so if you do wget if you give this, it will download. But if you try to access the list of all the cats, then it will not allow you. Why? Because the settings, now we have the IAM role to this one only. So now I'm going to give the access for public EC2 as well. Modify IAM role. I'm going to give full info endpoint. So now try. So you can see 2 buckets now. So this is the way we need to do. So this, if you look at that one, in EC2 endpoint, which doesn't have, see, if you look at the route tables, so if you look at the route tables, private route table, okay. So if you look at the route table, local, but do you remember that this one we didn't configure this one? It is automatically configured. So you got it right. So now let us, this is nothing but your endpoint. This endpoint. So endpoint, if you try to delete it, right, then you can do that. Now, can we try that? Endpoint is deleted. SSHI demo.demo1.pem EC2 user at 10.200.2.69 seat. Is it 69 or 49? 69, yes, 69. So now try to see, nothing happens. So whenever you delete the endpoint. So that's it for the session. So today, what exactly we did? So first we started with the VPC we have created. With the VPC, we have created 2 subnets. One is public subnet and the other one is a private subnet. Then we go for 2 route tables. That is, one is for private route table and the other one is for public route table. Public route table has an internet gateway, but private route table doesn't have the internet gate connectivity. Once route table is done, so we have done a subnet association. Okay, so as of now, all good. Then we created 2 EC2 instances. One is for private and the other one is for public. Through public, we have connected the private EC2 instance. Then we tried to connect the S3 bucket. We couldn't able to connect it. Then we have created an endpoint. While creating endpoint, we have seen that 2 things. One is interface endpoint and the other one is a gateway endpoint. So interface endpoint, which is associated with subnet, and the gateway endpoint, which is associated with the VPC, which will work only for VPC, but this interface endpoint will work on, since because of based on subnet, it will work for other regions as well through VPC peering or the transit gateway. So interface endpoint, keep aside, we have to see a little more on that. So coming back to gateway endpoint, so whenever you create an endpoint, it will ask you that for which VPC and for which subnets. So we have chosen and we have given the access as well. And then finally, we have created a S3 bucket with the as usual permissions which we given. So once we are able to download the content from S3 bucket, and if you wanted to see that, if you wanted to get the content from command prompt, so we have created a one more IAM role, identity access management role. So that IAM role which will be assigned to EC2 as well. So whatever the EC2 instance which is assigned to that, that only will be able to access this through command prompt, so that we have seen that finally we have removed the endpoint and we have tried to connect it again. So we are unable to connect it. So this is the overall things we have overall hands-on today done. So hope you may like it. Now we'll see that interface endpoints in the next session. Thanks to all.